When in the course of human events, when the inevitable leads to the certain, and it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the abusive powers of the governments which have terrorized and suffocated them, it is respectable and just that they should declare to all mankind the causes which impel them to the dissolution. Today, we the people assume amongst the powers of the earth, with the invocations of heaven, and with the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle us, the ReDeclaration of our collective independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people of every state, and every country, of every race, and of every creed are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst the people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. The time for this alteration and abolishment has arrived. Common sense will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light, fringe, or transient causes, and our own experience now has proven to us that mankind is more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right ourselves by abolishing the forms to which we are accustomed. We the people of this earth have indeed suffered under a long train of abuses and usurpations, ones that have reduced us to chattel through absolute despotism, and thus it becomes our right, it becomes our duty, to throw off such governments, and to provide new guards for our future security. Such has been the patient anguish of the collective peoples of this world. What will always be the inevitable necessity to alter our systems of government has now become an emergency. We the people have endured through an extensive history of repeated injuries and assaults, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over us. To prove this, let these concise 22 facts be submitted to a candid world. Number 1. Our rulers have bonded in unanimous agreement, egregious in its actions, diabolical in its intent, immoral in its purpose, whose aim is an outright affront upon the foundational principles of family, humanity, and civilization. Number 2. Our rulers have continually passed innumerous disparaging and unethical laws, wholly against our will, with such comprehensiveness, whose only result invariably yields a suffocating strain and constriction upon the divine entitlements of a free peoples. Number 3. Our rulers have bound humanity up in a web of fraudulent and malicious contracts, where such restrictions, ordinances, statutes, and other such binding resolutions forever burden the peoples through the complexities of their demands. Number 4. Our rulers have divided us through fanatical folly and impish order, unnecessarily setting us against each other through constant streams of propaganda and disinformation within various outlets of programming and media. Number 5. Our rulers have taken it upon themselves, through international accords of secrecy and subversion, to restrict and subordinate every facet of the natural world for scientific and political control. Number 6. Our rulers have taken it upon themselves, without due consent of the public trust, to hijack the people's ability to maintain the sovereignty of our own health and breath of life, and forcibly submitting through such orders, mandates, restrictions, and proclamations, medical procedures and practices not agreed nor wished upon by the people. Number 7. Our rulers have prevented the people from defending ourselves by divorcing us from the military and police, creating restrictions on the rights to defend ourselves, while simultaneously inflating their own power, as well as not properly penalizing those protectors of our rights when their oaths have been clearly and repeatedly violated. Number 8. Our rulers, aided by and in concert with criminal corporate controls within the free economy, have created centralized banking institutions which have monopolized the world monetary systems, giving a totalitarian stranglehold on the financial markets and thus inherent liberties of mankind. Number 9. Our rulers have prostituted the public office for private profit and to further their countless predatory aims, using the governing bodies of the people as a pivoting mechanism in which to advance corruption, control, and terrorism. Number 10. Our rulers have erected a multitude of offices, agencies, services, administrations, and departments which do nothing but magnify the beastly control over the people's inherent rights, privacy, and sovereignty. Number 11. Our rulers have used the advances of science and technology as weaponry to control, track, map, persuade, and influence the people, pressing upon us theories and notions that have not passed the rigors of repeatable scientific validity and safety, and as well have fraudulently manipulated our consent to these ideas through propaganda and disinformation. Number 12. Our rulers have used, corrupted, and manipulated the educational, scientific, and medical institutions, platforms, and publications to indoctrinate and commit ideological subversion upon the free peoples of the world. Number 13. Our rulers have effectively commandeered all licensing institutions, creating a monopoly on the free exercise of our rights, using the outrageous imposition of taxations, threats, fines, or imprisonment for lack of compliance. Number 14. Our rulers have imposed numerous unethical and unlawful taxes on us without our consent, including but not limited to property and income taxes. Number 15. Our rulers have repeatedly perverted and defiled their oaths of offices, consistently undermining and foregoing their moral and divine responsibility to secure the safety, liberty, and happiness of a free people. Number 16. Our rulers have sold out the industrial and economic bases of the countries, undermining the free markets of entire nations. Number 17. Our rulers have allowed representatives whose dual citizenship, proclaimed theological supremacy, and tribal biases have steered the course of human events, uprooting the common decency and good nature of the collective races and nations. Number 18. Our rulers have created an impenetrable wall of secrecy, whose sole purpose and objective has become to prevent the transparency of governments, thusly allowing for criminal activity and collusion to flourish and thrive. Number 19. Our rulers have forced through coercion and sabotage a lockdown upon this earth, seizing every aspect of our lives, including our economies, our health, our livelihoods, and our basic freedoms, without any consent nor collective agreement of the governed. Number 20. Our rulers have propagated and created false pretenses for wars, have fabricated events and scenarios to engage in such conflicts, and have manufactured the people's consent to enter into such engagements. Number 21. Our rulers have allowed chaos and turmoil to arise in our streets, in complete disregard to the rule of law or of the rights of peaceful protest, allowing for the destruction of personal and private property, and aiding the increase of division amongst the people. Number 22. Our rulers have willfully chosen to act in direct contradiction to the Golden Rule and to the laws of nature, abandoning their responsibilities to both man and God. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. If those that allege to wield the power of God over us forego the cries and agonies of generations, then, by the immorality self-declared in their actions, they become unfit to be the rulers of a free people. We have been patient with our acrimony of these injustices. We have continued to work and pray, petition and protest our grievances, and have patiently yearned for humble accord. We the people have been reduced through media and propaganda, deception and trickery, confusion and chaos, unreason and fiendish rhyme to be indentured by unruly overlords, who preach to us peace and sell us poisons, who claim to bathe in rivers of truth and yet are awash in torrents of lies. They have been deaf to the voice of reason, blind to the cries of justice, and they satiate themselves in the quenching of our parched souls. I, therefore, speaking as a representative of we the people, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by authority of the good people of this world solemnly publish and declare that we the people, whose divine right and natural state is to be free and independent, are officially absolved from all allegiance to the abusive powers of the governments. Today, all political connection between we the people and our rulers is totally dissolved, and we retain the right, acting upon our moral and divine obligations, to regain complete control of our governments, our liberties, and our destinies. We the people announce our separation from our rulers, and declare the dissolution of the powers they claim to wield over us. We expect and fully demand that all public servants and oath keepers in every level of government, as well as in the private sector, will reaffirm and retake their oaths to we the people, acting in protection and support of our divine entitlements. Those public servants who refuse the reaffirmation of their oath, who continue to protect and defend the demands and orders of our rulers, will henceforth be recognized as terrorists, as a threat to we the people, and as an assault on the good nature of humanity. And for the support of this redeclaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Kevin Ryan Martin McNally, the Hawaiian Kingdom, formerly known as the State of Hawaii, July 28th in the year 2020.